How's it going, everyone? Radical here, and I gotta say, I find this really relaxing. Welcome to Temptations Ballad, a fantasy visual novel with RPG elements by Shirokoi, the same guy behind Repeat, or something. You can probably tell just by looking at the art. I'm already really impressed by this. I mean, the interface is incredibly different, and honestly, I think we should just stop messing with the interface and get started. Let's click that pretty little blue button, huh? Oh, that's a beautiful song. Alright. A child perches upon his caged throne, not a life nor choice to call his own. Brittle bones broke to fit their mold, groomed and taught an ideal foretold. And neither heaven nor hell should he find rest, till he flies onwards upon a path obsessed. Perhaps one day my soul shall soar free, but how I wish to be anyone but me. Unknown. Chapter 1. The Liar, the Commoner, and the Chosen One. Some say that the city of Axia stood at the center of the world. Bustling hub of arcane research, hard-working craftsmen, and home of the kingdom's royal family, there was rarely a dull moment within this noble city's history. More humble individuals would retort that Axia was actually a shimmering shithole, while the church would accuse such individuals of being uncouth hooligans beyond salvation. They would also reassure everyone that the city of Axia was indeed very, very important. But to what extent? Little did the world and its inhabitants know that at its alleged center, a story was slowly unfolding that will ultimately determine the fate of everything. Like many stories throughout the ages, this one begins with 3 idiots. Ah, yes. How everything begins with a bunch of fools. A rather hopeless bunch, really. For some time and bumbling about, however, they will hopefully mature enough to face the trials to come and take a stand at center of the world. The story begins with a liar, a commoner, and the chosen one. Oh shit! Marauders District, Bonebreaker Mercenary Company, Guild Building. That already sounds intimidating. Who's Bonebreaker, though? Well, calling it a guild building was a little generous. The place was more of an abandoned tavern that was haphazardly renovated into a semi-usable living space. Mugs of mead littered the broken-down bar, along with racks of weapons and overdue bills from the Adventurers Guild. It was an unorthodox company, to say the least. It was a guild tavern, and rather the Bonebreaker Mercenary Guild. We were constantly droning with the shouts of drunk mercenaries, clattering weapons, and barely hidden sensual moans rumbling from the supply closets. It was highly recommended that visitors avoided the backroom supply closets, lest they find themselves in awkward sights. Yay! Or some fun, take your pick. The Bonebreaker Mercenary Company has always been just like its captain and namesake. Everyone's here to kick ass and have a good time. Or rather, almost everyone. Ooh, wow. The mirthful ruckus of shouting drunk mercenaries was audible even in the attic, albeit slightly muffled. It was just quiet enough for Cole to practice his lute in relative peace. The young hyena strummed the tattered strings on his instrument, humming softly over the intoxicated chattering downstairs. He was technically supposed to be doing weapons training at the moment, though Cole was never one to simply do as he was told. He plucked a C sharp and immediately winced at the sound. Out of tune already? This old thing ain't gonna match. Bleh. God, what kind of voice to give him? Let me drink some water first. Attitude already? This whole thing ain't gonna last much longer. Ah, shit! There was an ugly twang, followed by a sharp yell. As Cole tightened the pegs on his decrepit lute, a string snapped and whipped painfully against his finger. He winced and sucked his thumb in dismay. Bollocks! Looks like that's the end of practice for today. How the hell am I supposed to get another loot without Papa finding out? Suddenly, the entire building shook for a sounding boom as the heavy entrance doors were kicked open. The guild rumbled with whopping and hollering cheers from dozens of mercenaries in the lobby. Cole's shoulders slumped as he slowly forced himself onto his feet. And he's back. Oh no. Who's his daddy? Sounds. The din of hollering men was enough to rattle the mugs on the bar tables. The boss is back! There's our man! Marrow, how's your job? Shut your traps! The room immediately fell silent. Marrow Bonebreaker grumbles as he stomped through the door, his massive shadow darkening the entire room as he turned towards the bar. A dozen fellow mercenaries spilled into the lobby along with their captain, each slinging various steel axes and swords over their shoulders. Merrill's glass eye twinkled in the dim room. Fuck! Merrill's glass eye twinkled in the dim room as he walked, very presence commanding the attention of every person in the vicinity. He snatched a mug of mead from one of the mercenaries and downed it in one gulp, before slamming it down on the bottom table. The large, towering hyena wiped his muzzle with his frozen side. Horrible! Utterly rubbish and disappointing! The moment those bandits saw us Bonebreakers approaching, they dropped their little weapons and surrendered, while shaking their little boots. The old lady down the street could have put up a bit of fight in those sorry souls. Weren't folks saying that the city was supposed to get more rowdy now? The king and queen kicked the buckets. Bandits, my axe. My axe hasn't tasted a good fight in years. Planner mercenaries in the lobby grumbled with disappointment. Ah, shucks, Captain! You mean you didn't even get the fight? A sly grin suddenly stretched across Merrill's face. He fumbled with handling his great axe. Oh, I didn't say that now, did I? A few of those measly bandits were stinking majors. Shot a few little fireballs at us, thinking they were smart. He licked his lips. Not quite as satisfying as clambering a few magic nitwits to the ground. Still doesn't make up for a disappointing fight, though. The voice suddenly mumbled from behind heavy entrance doors. Really now? Bandits were arrested and we got paid. Isn't that enough? Oh, but what's the point of being a merc if we can't have some fun kicking ass? Front doors creaked open as another shorter hyena heaved a large sack through the guild's entrance. Hamish, the mercenary captain, its right-hand man, rolled his eyes as he lugged a heavy bag of coins into the bar. The money, stable job, big shack we're all living in. It's a guild building! Hamish rolled his eyes and ignored his own overly cheerful captain. In fact, the City Watch isn't clamoring to arrest us anymore. That should be plenty reason enough. Ah, Lovey, there you go talking sense again. Can't you just complain in peace for once? Can't you just let me complain in peace for once, right? Yeah. Hamish tapped his chin thoughtfully. Nah, somebody's gotta keep you in line. You ain't fun no more. Hamish tried to hide a fond smile as he turned towards dozens of other mercenaries in the room. He plucked a handful of copper and silver coins and shoved them onto the bar. By the way, everyone, Captain says drinks are on him tonight. The entire guild erupted into cheers and whoops. The followers as all the rowdy mercenaries raised their tankards in glee. Yes! You're the best captains we could ever ask for, boss. You bet your ass I am! Merrill chuckled and threw a long, loving arm around Hamish's shoulders as they settled down at the table. A few of the mercenaries working at the bar eagerly passed more tankards of ale to the pair of hyenas. Merrill grinned and took another deep gulp. Gotta make our own fun in this boring-ass city now, don't we? Speaking of which... Hamish shot Merrill a withering look as he felt a large hand snake down the small of his back and feel teasingly at the hem of his breeches.
Whoa! Whoa!
A little early in the morning for this, don't you think? Aw, lovey, the job was so boring. You don't mind cheering me up a little, don't you? Ow! Merrill felt a sharp pinch and retracted his arms with pout. Maybe later. Didn't you have something you needed to do? Something to do. Merrill's eyebrows perked up in realization. Oh, right, how could I have forgotten? He left up and began rummaging furiously through his sack on the bar. Merrill glanced up at nearby mercenaries getting deep into their cups. By the by, have any of you seen my boy? I think I heard him strumming his darn lute in the attic again. Kid should really let loose and join us at the bar more often. Merrill's chest swelled with pride. Ah, there's my talented little lad, always refining his hobbies. Y'all could learn a little bit from his dedication. Merrill turned towards the stairway and stomped his feet. Cole! Cole! Cole, come down! Your papa's got something for you. Yeesh! Ah, there he is, my darling boy. You know I could hear you without all the hollering, Papa. Ah! Cole yelped as a massive hand clapped him on the back and sent his tiny frame fist first into the floor. Ow, Papa, watch it, my shoulder's still not recovered yet. Nah, sorry there, alright? I just can't help but get excited from seeing my pride and joy. Especially when he's so dedicated to practicing his passion so damn much. How's that little lute of yours treating you? Oh. Cole's shoulders slumped. It, broke when I was practicing this morning. Weren't you supposed to be doing weapons training this morning? Not now, Hammy. I'm trying to be a positive influence here. Now, where was I? Aha! Surprise, my boy! Merrill grinned gleefully as he pulled something large out from his sack. Cole felt his jaw drop. He watched his father slowly unwrap a brand new glistening lute, furnished brilliantly with handsome dark wood. He instantly reached out to grab it, his paws gingerly tracing the cool, smooth surface. Is this for me? Thank you so much, Papa. You really shouldn't have. Merrill barked with laughter and slapped his son on the shoulder. Nonsense! Anything for my darling boy. The Bonebreakers have gotten a lot of jobs lately since the King and Queen croaked. I had to spend all that coin on something. A wave of warm giddiness washed over Cole's chest as he gently strummed the strings of his new lute. Sharp and cheerful notes rang out, perfectly tuned. Cole laughed, delighted. This is awesome. Thank you so much, Papa. Like I said before, anything for my darling son. Cole suddenly grimaced as he glanced at his father. Uh-oh, he's getting one of those daydreaming looks in his eyes again. One day you will grow into a great man who will take over the Bonebreaker mercenary company as my successor. Ah, the speech. Cole stood up straight and tried his utmost to resist rolling his eyes. You will grow up to be a strong mercenary, and an even greater man than I. Bonebreaker's legacy will be yours to lead down the glorious path it is destined to follow. People will sing stories of your deeds for ages to come. Yes, I've memorized this whole bit, Papa. Nothing pessimistic or anything, but have you noticed that your son is like almost half the size of the smallest merc in the company? I can barely even lift an axe. Worry not, my dear boy. I understand your pain. I was a late bloomer as well. Yet here I am, the captain of the greatest and most fearsome mercenary company in all of Axia and the kingdoms beyond. Late bloomer. Papa, I'm like 23 now. Pretty sure chances of growth are miraculously low at this point. Cole gulped his father, leaned down on one knee and placed a supportive hand on his shoulder. His face was brimming with such faith and pride that it was hard to look at directly. No matter the odds, know that I believe in you. You're going to show the world what you're made of one day, and the world will watch in awe. Remember, boy, you are the son of Merrill Bonebreaker. Cole felt an uncomfortable wriggling of doubt rising in his throat, but at the sight of his father's intense and loving confidence, he swallowed it back down. Aw, that's so sweet. That is so sweet. Ow, fuck my eye. Goddamn eyelash. Fucking. Okay, now that I can see again. Sure, Papa. One day, Mara's laugh boomed through the building. Cole yelped as a playful hand ruffled his hair. That's my boy. Now, like anything in life, that won't come without putting some work into it, you know? That's why I think it's high time you start taking on mercenary jobs again. What? I still haven't recovered from the injuries from my last job. Cole jabbed a finger desperately at the bandages hanging from his shoulder. Bah! It's been weeks. If it ain't getting better if you're cooped up at home, it'll get better if you go out for some air. Meryl's voice turned gentle. I ain't asking you for the world, boy. Not until you're ready. We'll take it one step at a time. For today, just go out and take one job listing from the Adventurers Guild. Bring something home from your work. Be it a few coppers or vast heapings of treasure. Know that I'll always be proud of what you do. The life of a great man is a long one. There's no need to rush, but we should always be moving forward. A mix of affection and dread rolled through Cole's chest as he glanced between his father's brimming pride and the new furnished loot in his hands. His grip tightened on it as he sighed. Right, Papa. I'll do my best. Attaboy, go show him what you're made of. And if you run into any cowardly magic users out there, give them the old throttling for me. You know what I always say about magic? It's the tool of the weak and the spineless. Ha! And don't you forget it. Nothing's more satisfying than clobbering a wizard across the face while they're crying, "My spells! My spells!" Right, of course. Anyway, I gotta go show the world what I'm made of. I'll see you later. Take care, my son. Cole grabbed his loot and scuttled towards the door. His gaze was trained at his feet, far from beaming, and loving grin on his father's face. Cole had scarcely taken a step outside when he was pulled aside by the Hamish, who was wearing his usual gruff look of concern. Oops. Cole mentally groaned as he was dragged to the quiet supply closets in the back of the tavern. Guild building. He chuckled at the usual sounds of low moans rumbled from many of the closets. All the men in Bonebreaker's mercenary company knew what happens back there. Whoa, Hammy, dragging me straight to the supply closets is a little direct, ain't it? Plus, ain't all you chummy, Papa? Hate to be an awkward homewrecker. Hamish's eyebrows shot up so quickly that Cole almost thought they had left his face. What? No, that's not why He muttered under his breath and slammed a fist against the thin wooden face. Quiet down! The months from various closets were slightly more muffled and quiet. Just slightly. Someone from one of the closets whispered a very quiet sorry, followed by a quick chorus of snickers. Bunch of horny dumbasses. Anyway, on to the real business. Hamish suddenly swiped at Cole's bandaged shoulder. Hey! Cole stumbled backwards in shock. Hamish's eyes narrowed. Bandages had roughly faded into nothingness, like wisps of heat on a hot summer day. Underneath, Cole's shoulder appeared completely uninjured. The air buzzed. It was faint, but it was unmistakably the soft glow of magic. A minor illusion, eh? When did you learn a trick like that? Cole's breath hitched. He felt his stomach drop. I can explain. Please don't tell Papa. Shh. A hand rested gently on Cole's shoulder as Cole fought the urge to flee. Hamish sighed. Relax, Cole. I'm not here to get you in trouble. Not everyone's as old-fashioned as your father. Honestly, most of the boys in Bonebreakers are fine at magic. Cole let out a breath of relief and scowled. If you were fine with it, you could have just left me alone. Hamish sighed and rubbed his temples. I'm just worried about you, kiddo. I think it's high time you have a long conversation with your pa. Haven't heard that phrase in a while. Cole's scowl deepened and he crossed his arm defensively. What are you on about? Hamish scratched his fucking... Ow. Hamish scratched his chin and closed his eyes, as though cautiously preparing his next words. Are you sure you really want to take over the Bonebreakers when you're older? What? Anger surged through Cole's chest as he gripped the cold wooden handle of his new loot. Of course I do. Papa didn't raise a disappointment. Not saying that you're a disappointment. Are you? What exactly are you trying to say then? Cole took a step forward, the fur of his mane standing on end. I am Kaladi Bonebreaker, son of Marrow Bonebreaker, the most famous and feared mercenary in all of Axia and the kingdom beyond. I don't need Papa's little lackey to tell me what to do. A heavy tense silence hung over the hallway as Cole glared into Hamish's unflinching eyes. Finally, the older man sighed. Alright then, you'll follow your father's footsteps. What about your magic? Oh, you're trying to blackmail. Hamish held up his hands. No, I'm trying to hold a conversation, kiddo. I just think that most of your toxic father's been rather one-sided. Wouldn't it be healthier if you two sat down and took some time to talk about how you really felt? At the very least, let him know about your talents. Magic is tool of the weak and spineless. And you're neither weak nor spineless. You've got real skill with that magic of yours, kiddo. Are you just gonna keep lying and hiding it from your pa to live up to his ridiculous expectations? Yes. There was something satisfying about getting under Hamish's skin. Papa's right-hand man usually held himself with unwavering sternness. Now he was just massaging his temples in frustration. You certainly have your pa's hard-headed stubbornness. Are you truly determined to pretend being a big axe-swinging barbarian for the rest of your life, when you clearly don't want to? Pa is Marrow Bonebreaker. What are people going to say if they find out the strongest mercenary in the land has a weak little pipsqueak for his son, who can barely swing his sword? I'll fake it till I make it somehow. Lying Papa feels better than disappointing him. If Marrow's ego is truly that fragile, I'd smack him into this guild myself. Go talk to your father, Cole. He loves you dearly, magic or otherwise. I'm sure he'll understand. Yeah, sure, and I'll be the next king of Axia, Cole thought to himself as he stomped past Hamish with a huff. The wooden floors creaked as the older hyena turned to follow him. The guy's worse than a mother hen. I gotta get out of here. Cole glanced up with a smirk. Speaking of uncomfortable conversations, when are you gonna start officially courting Papa for real? Just want to brace myself in case I come home to an official second dad. Whatever calm collectedness Hamish held immediately collapsed as his face erupted into a harsh red hue. Excuse me? That's none of your business. Cole smirked as he shoved past the spluttering hyena. I'm just saying, maybe once you're officially my Papa #2, I'll actually listen to your nonsense. Anyway, ta-ta, I've got an adventuring job to worm myself out of. With that, Cole stomped out the door and left a spluttering Hamish behind. Wow. Oh my god. Market District. Sparrow's Inn and Tavern. Meanwhile, across the city at an actual functioning tavern, a young badger slumped his way home with heavy shoulders and even heavier hearts. Sid Shrikewood's face was grim as he stumbled home to the tavern his mother ran. Returning home was empty-handed, yet again, and this time he returned bright and early in the morning. The day had barely begun, with cool morning dew settling on the wet grass below. As Sid approached the steps of Sparrow's Roast Inn and Tavern, his eyes lit up at the sight of a familiar face waiting for him. Hey, Betsy, how's business at the tavern going today? Hope the customers have been treating you well. Sid sighed and plopped down on a large stone next to his longtime friend. As for me, well, morning just started and it's already a shit day. He buried his face in his hands. I got kicked out of my scribe apprenticeship. Third day of the job. That's gotta be a new record. Mom's gonna kill me at this rate. What the hell am I supposed to tell her? Sid shook his head and grabbed a nearby broom lying next to the Sparrow Roast Inn entrance. He absent-mindedly began sweeping dirt and grime off of the tavern steps. Rhythmic chores always helped him clear away dreadful thoughts. Chores also helped relieve some extra work from his mother's already massive workload, which was always a plus. Sid's mother was always working, bustling about in the tavern, and serving customers day and night. His heart always lurched painfully in his chest. When he returned home every night, Sears slumped over a chair in exhaustion. Her hands had grown coarse with calluses, and she has complained of back pain as of late. Naturally, Sid often showed up at the Sparrow's roast inn and tavern to help out whenever he could. Usually because he got kicked out via another apprenticeship job. Sid sighed and paused his sweeping to look down at Betsy. She silently stared back at him, ever a good listener. Hey Betsy, this is like the 5th apprenticeship I got fired from. I really want to become happy and get a cushy job, but none of this feels right for me, you know? In a struggle with Sid's throat, he tried to imagine himself as a scribe. Me? Cooped up in a cushy commoner job. I mean, I'm a commoner through and through, but I always dreamed of being something bigger, you know? Sid twirled his broom, with practiced swing, slashing the air enthusiastically as though it were a sword. Oh, shit! Now, Sid the Adventurer, that rolls off tongue way better. Going out into the world to perform heroic deeds, amassing glory, and saving day like champions of the storybooks. What do you think, Betsy? Ribbit. A frog? A frog. A freaking frog. Okay. Betsy, as usual, did not answer for the simple fact that she was a toad. Ever a good listener, she continued staring up at Sid with deep understanding eyes as she perched on her usual basking rock. Right? I'd make a fantastic adventurer. Bards will sing of my legend one day, just you watch. Yeah! Ha! Sid swung his broom sword in the air with wild and brash sweeps. He imagined fending off an invisible foe as he jabbed and thrusted his heroic weapon to and fro. Yeah, take that. Whoops! His foot suddenly slipped on wet cobblestone and he tumbled forward with the grace of a damp log. As Sid tumbled, he lost grip of his very heroic broom sword and yelped as it soared in the air, right as the tavern doors creaked open. Sid, dear, are you... Ouch! Sid's mother winced as flying broom handle smacked her right between the eyes. Mom! Oh my gosh, I'm so sorry, I didn't mean to. He rushed to his mom's side as she gingerly rubbed her bruised forehead. Ilia looked up at her son with an exasperated yet fond smile as she pinched his cheeks. That's quite alright, dear. Your mother is made of tougher stuff than this. We were pretending to be a sword fighter with the broom again, because the windows were open and the whole tavern could hear and see you. What? They saw? Sid's ears flattened against his head as he flushed pink. That was a private conversation. With your frog. Ilia glanced down at Betsy doubtfully. Excuse you. Betsy is a noble toad and a good friend. Sid watched his mother sigh deeply and buried her face in her hands. It looked as though she was trying her best to keep a straight face and avoid chuckling. Or crying. Sid couldn't tell at this point. Oh, sweetheart. I heard your, conversation earlier. Were you fired from your apprenticeship again? Sid's shoulders slumped as he stared anywhere but his mother's prying eyes. Well, fired is a strong word. I prefer the term gently let go. Hey, that's fair. Of course, dear. He felt a gentle wing on his arm. Sid glanced down. His mom looked so tiny in comparison. The scribe, the blacksmith, even the wood furnishers. You've been let go from practically every apprenticeship job in our neighborhood. Sweetheart, I may not be as charismatic as your frog friend here, but please don't be afraid to speak to me if something's wrong. Nothing's wrong! Well, kinda. Guilt started creeping through his chest. They've been through this conversation countless times. I just can't get into any of these ordinary jobs. The thought of getting stuck indoors as a scribe for the rest of my life just feels miserable. I want to get out there and see the world. Don't you want your son to succeed as a great and glorious adventurer? I know I have it in me to be somebody instead of another commoner out there in the market district. Somebody great. Lia's grip on his arm tightened as a worried trepidation filled her face. Oh, Sid, I know this is difficult, but the reason your father and I work ourselves to the bone day in and day out is because we hope to create a better future for you. We work so hard because we hope you don't have to. I want you to be happy as well, but many adventurers often don't return home. Thought of you going out into the world alone? Lia snapped her beak shut, shivering. Ah, Mom, don't worry, I'm toughest cookie around. Are you really never gonna let me be an adventurer, like, ever? The Adventurers Guild is just a short walk away in the Marauders District. It's so close I can practically taste it. Well, I suppose... Yes! Is that a yes? No. Ilya sighed as if emotionally deflated like a trampled balloon. Don't give me those sad puppy eyes. Your father and I had a long talk this morning. We came to a decision. She took a deep breath. If you're going to go out wildly dangerous adventuring... If you're going to go out doing wildly adventurous... If you're going to go out doing wildly dangerous adventuring jobs, it will be a great comfort to your father and I if you had trusted friends by your side. If you find a few dependable friends to form an adventuring party with, I suppose you can go talk to the Adventuring Guild. Sid perked up and then immediately groaned. Bold of you to assume I have friends in general. People always laugh at me. Well, perhaps you stopped talking to your frog all the time. That's he's a toad! Ilya sighed with a defeated smile and patted herself on the shoulder. This was impressive considering she barely reached it, even when standing on her tiptoes. Bold to assume she has toes. Alright, dear. Why don't you get out of here while the day is still young? Go mingle about the Marauders District and see if you can make any friends. Before I forget, pack you some snacks in case you get hungry later. Be sure to serve them for friends if you make any later today. Sid stood stunned while his mother stuffed several wrapped sandwiches into his tiny pockets. Wait, you're really giving me a chance? Thank you so much, Mom. I won't disappoint you. You never do. Love you, sweetheart. Sid was already prancing halfway down the street, practically vibrating with excitement. Love you too, Mom. Oh, and if you don't manage to find anyone for your adventuring party, your father's looking for an assistant at his cheese shop. And he's gone. Ilya clasped her hands together and tried to ignore the anxious knot tugging at her chest. What kind of knot are we talking about here, huh? Ilya... she looked down at Betsy, croaking happily on a rock. Oh, wise frog, what do you think? What are the chances my son comes back a wiser and more sensible young man? Ribbit. She sighed. I thought so.